out, and others have just been able to present without any evidence. They've said, we have evidence of collusion, and yesterday that was put to bed.
All I know is, Steve, that throughout these last 22 months, gossip was treated as gospel. Sources providing information to reporters all too willing to accept it, like seagulls at the beach. And look, this is a day of reckoning for our media like we haven't seen since the 2016 election. I would say maybe the worst day ever for our media, given all of that coverage and the pushing of that particular narrative around Russia collusion. The Washington Post and New York Times, Molly Hemingway pointed this out, won Pulitzers for their reporting on Russian collusion. All we heard about was walls are closing in, noose is tightening, and this is the beginning of the end. And now we're hearing, even yesterday and this morning, this is the beginning of something else. The next chapter. You know why? Because it's good for ratings and because people want to believe the worst about this president.
There's an item this morning, Joe, in Axios that says that apparently the president is going to plan to call for organizations to fire members of the media and former government officials who he believes made false accusations about him. So do you think there could be a day of reckoning for these people who said, oh, absolutely, there's collusion?
I don't think it's up to the government to hire and fire certain media people. That's up to the organizations, the news organizations that employ them. But from what I've seen, Steve, how many Russian collusion stories did we see where an organization, reporters got it wrong, and there were actual consequences? I can only name once, really on a major level, with CNN and Anthony Scaramucci, and 3 reporters got fired. Outside of that, there haven't been suspensions. There probably haven't been reprimanded in corner offices somewhere. Right. And remember, think of the stories we missed as a result of Russia. The economy's performance as it pertains to wages or unemployment or growth. The destruction of the ISIS caliphate. That suddenly came out of nowhere, it seemed to a lot of people, because no one was really covering it. And the most overlooked story, the opioid epidemic, 70,000 people killed in 2017 alone. That's more than car crashes. You hardly hear about that. And that's what affects real Americans' lives. Steve.
A wake-up call for everybody. All right. Joe, thank you very much for joining us today.
Good to see you.
All right. What do you think about that? Email us, friends@foxnews.com. We're also on